welcome everybody. One of the best things that I get to do is meet with several of the businesses that Amazon South Africa is working with in South Africa to bring this shopping experience to our customers. And the conversations that I especially enjoy is the conversations with entrepreneurs who are selling in the store. And I think it's most apt in our first one of this series is that we have Mulanga Moefe, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Moefe, yeah.
Moefe, okay, I've got to get that right. And especially in conjunction with International Women's Day having been so recent, it's fantastic to speak to a woman leader, a woman entrepreneur leading the way in South Africa. And Mulanga, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the business. Tell us about the business. Tell us about the products.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited to share the story of Mulanga Naturals. So Mulanga Naturals, my baby's right here, it's a skincare and wellness brand that I started in 2016, manufactured right here in Maitland, Cape Town. And it is premium skincare, targeting melanin-rich skin concerns, and made with 100% natural and organic ingredients. And honestly, it was more of a personal journey how it started. I had lived abroad for many, many years, and upon returning, I had eczema. For the very first time in my life. I had no clue what this was. It shocked me. But I was very shocked and disappointed by the options, by the natural options, and really just wanting some natural solutions for my skin ailment. I decided to do some research, figure out ingredients I liked, literally from our family's kitchen. And once I was confident enough with the ingredients I wanted to use, then I looked for a local manufacturing company with expertise in natural and organic formulations, and here we are now.
So how did, tell us a bit more about that process of coming up with this formula, because I do see that, is it baobab included as one of the ingredients?
Yes. So literally Google became my best friend.
Okay.
YouTube became my best friend. But honestly, prior to moving to South Africa, I was already very much interested in natural hair care for my hair. So I was already aware of ingredients such as baobab, such as coconut oil, shea butters. So just knowing I was home and that the region that I'm from in Limpopo produces baobab, I wanted to kind of have that connection to my own heritage, to kind of be part of our brand story. And lucky enough for me, the manufacturing company that does my products has this, they source it in Limpopo, so it was nice.
So what are the magical properties? Because I remember growing up in South Africa, you know, barefoot running in the dust, and we used to suck the little seeds of the baobab. Yeah, open up those fruits. Took a little bit of getting into them, but is there some magical property in there?
It's just very nourishing for the skin. So specifically for people with dry skin, it's definitely, it holds a lot of water properties that nourish the skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us, who are your customers? Who's typically using the product?
It's unisex, by the way. I should say that, because sometimes I find when I'm talking to a potential male customer, I gotta sell it just way more, you know, they're like, is it for guys? I'm like, it's unisex. But predominantly the people that are using it are people who tend to have drier skin or eczema prone skin. But dryness being like the number one kind of skin concern that a lot of people have. Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a bit about what you would do differently if you had to approach this, because I think in any journey like this, there's a lot of learnings, there are a lot of things that you'd maybe do differently.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you just have to be confident.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part of the journey is starting. And for me, if I could go back to 2016 or just a little before, I would have definitely started community building before I actually had a physical product, because I think that then builds your community, it builds trust. They want your authenticity, they want to see your authenticity, and even potentially I think I missed an opportunity in the beginning to co-design with them,
Yeah.
you know? So I think it's invaluable if I had gone to the potential customers and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking, but what are your specific concerns that I should take into account? So definitely community building is something that I would have started way long ago. And marketing. You know, I kept thinking, oh, I don't want to start the hype too soon before I know the products will be in market. I don't want such a big gap. But that's all silliness. Like, just start, you know, start to communicate with people, start building your brand, and start getting your story out there.
So, I mean, it aligns quite nicely to our customer obsession is always at the forefront of where we start. But how have you gone about building that community?
Oh my gosh, I have learned, first of all, there's a good friend of mine who saw me kind of like, you know, posting on Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
And it must have not, it wasn't generating what it needed to clearly, because he called me and and I hadn't talked to him for a really long time, and he was like, do you know about this course? You know, you can like take a Facebook course and learn about the back end of Facebook and how to do ads. So ad tools, that's pretty much where I started. So I started kind of just taking these side courses on how, you know, to put out ads on Facebook, put out ads on Instagram, and I'm on Shopify, the e-commerce platform also. So even just trying to figure out how they do the algorithms, how they collect their data, what data is being collected, how can I use that to inform more ads. So I started there, and then via the website, my own website, I was like, okay, it's a bit dormant. Like, people need to come to the website and see that there's life, you know? So then I started blogging.
Okay.
So there's an educational piece to it, which I like too, because we get to demystify just really myths about skin health. And we also touch on a lot of wellness stuff, because wellness is very trendy right now, specifically after COVID. And then now and then I'll do a newsletter. So these are all different click funnels to just kind of get people back to the website to drive those sales.
Not easy being an entrepreneur.
No.
Tell us a little bit about the challenges and how you've gone about it, and maybe in that a little bit of advice for someone else who's thinking about taking a similar journey.
Yeah. For me, I'm in the beauty sector, and what I didn't realize when I started out is just the high startup costs. I mean, you need high cash flow to keep everything going. Your formulators, the manufacturers who do your formulas, that's a lot of money. Your packages, that's somebody else in the supply chain, that's a lot of money. And then your marketing never stops. So that's a lot of money, because you have to pretty much compete with everybody else that's in the market, right? And, you know, I've been bootstrapping it myself, asking family, you know, hey, support this way, support that way. But the good thing about being in South Africa is that there are a lot of government schemes and funding opportunities that you can apply for. I haven't yet done that, because there's also a challenge with getting it. Though it's there, it's a bit challenging to actually get to the money. There's a lot of little red tape that you got to go through. But at the end of the day, I think if you're passionate about what you're doing, somehow you will figure it out and you'll keep pushing yourself. And then somebody like Amazon might find you, highlight you, and then all of a sudden things start moving. So,
Yeah, no, and I think that's, certainly for me personally, it's been super exciting to see how many great South African brands there are and see them highlighted on Amazon, and where we can help with, you know, the logistics and taking payments and all those type of things. So I'm glad it's working out for you in that sense. So for me, building entrepreneurs, especially with youth in South Africa, I think it's just such a critical part of our growth as an economy. You're clearly a fantastic role model for so many people, and I know many look up to you for that guidance. But what would you say to them? You know, how do you think they should go about starting? Because it's quite daunting, learning all these different things, getting access to internet and what have you. And some people are starting from some very basic knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, when I was coming up and I was in school, one of the things that were very invaluable was networking. So, you know, schools would have all these little events after class or whatever. So you'd go there and try to meet people that you were aligned with. And I get it. Nowadays, not everybody has the opportunity to go to school, especially if we're talking about South Africa and the unemployment rates and things like that. But now social media is there. And I feel like going back to that community building thing, you literally can be part of an online community to get the support that you need. I mean, I was on YouTube literally trying to learn how to take the best reels, you know, like learning from all these YouTubers who will literally pin down what cameras you should buy first, don't waste your money on this and that. So there's a lot of communities that you can look for online. I think that would be, for me, I would say the start, because everybody is online, especially the youth, they're online. So network with like-minded people.
How, you know, networking is quite intimidating for a lot of young people. I mean, how would you advise maybe one or two tips or tricks as to how to go about networking and maybe opening some of those doors?
Literally, I'm just like, just talk to people, DM them.
Okay,
like DM people and don't be scared. The thing is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to give you anything. And if it's something that you're really passionate about and you want to get it done, you have to keep knocking on the door. Like, DM them. If they don't want to talk to you and they respond, but they're not interested, ask them, is there somebody else that, you know, they could, you know, advise you to go talk to. Because you never know what's the worst that could happen. Somebody could say no, but then you just move on. So I'm kind of that mindset.
So where to next with the products and the company? What big plans have you got?
Ooh, we got so many products in the pipeline. So on the product side of things, right now we just have body focused offerings, and we are also in talks or working on formulations for hair and formulations specifically for face. And then who knows, and then on the other side, because I did say Mulanga Naturals is a health and wellness brand, so we're still yet to launch our wellness services, so be on the lookout.
So more
for
on the
those.
Services side than the product side.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see how this goes.
I'm excited.
Mulanga, thank you so much for joining us. You know, I know that people listening to the video will be inspired by your journey, and I can't wait to see where you take the business, and we'll certainly be there hand in hand on this journey together.
Thank you so much. Thank you.